If you're running a high-risk business, I'm talking CBD, supplements, travel, or even subscriptions, you know the pain. Got shut down by PayPal, Stripe dumped you, and now your cash flow is on life support. And that's not a business failure, it's a lack of strategy, and we're fixing it now. In the next 4 minutes, I'm giving you a 5-point blueprint for securing a stable, long-term, high-risk merchant account. Get this wrong, and you're out of business. Get this right, you'll finally stabilize your processing. So stick around for the biggest threat of all, and it's the match list and exactly how to dodge it. So I'm Charles Crillo. I'm an onboarding specialist at Ally Payments, and welcome to our YouTube channel. So let's start with paperwork. The fastest way to get denied is to look disorganized, and you need 3 things locked down before you even submit your application. The first is the KYC trio, and that is your articles of incorporation, your EIN letter, your IRS letter, and a photo ID for every owner with a 25% or greater stake. And they must all match your legal business filings. So if your business requires a business license, please include that as well. Second is 3 months of business bank and processing statements. So if you've already processed payments, include your last 3 months of processing statements. Additionally, include 3 months of business bank statements along with a voided check or bank letter. Now, if you do not have 3 months of business bank statements, personal bank statements will suffice. Third is your website compliance. So your site must be live and functional, and it must display 3 separate pages. That's going to be your refund policy, your privacy policy, and terms and conditions. Getting approved isn't about luck, it's about meeting underwriting requirements. And the golden number is the 1% chargeback threshold. So 1% is typically the underwriter's maximum rate for chargebacks. Once processing, if your chargebacks exceed 1%, especially if it's a temporary spike, many high-risk processors will let it slide. Now, we currently have merchants processing with over 1% chargebacks, and we've approved merchants with over a 1% chargeback rate. But 1% is usually an underwriter's maximum chargeback rate that's allowed. Your personal FICO score matters, so the owner-guarantor credit check is heavily weighted. So aim for a minimum FICO score of 580 to 625. Many banks have a minimum FICO score of 625, with some that will go down into the mid-500s if there are solid financials and or a cosigner. Now, you must not be on the match list. If you are, stop the application and find out how to handle this first, but we'll cover that later on. Underwriter is looking for consistency throughout the application package. All personal names and the business names match the documents on the website. They're looking for legitimate business with legitimate offers that the merchant can actually fulfill, along with clear, transparent terms and pricing. Unclear or unreasonable offers usually lead to higher numbers of chargebacks. Now, everybody wants instant approval, but let's be direct, it's a myth. Genuine underwriting takes time, but you can speed it up. Avoid aggregators. So go directly to an ISO or an acquirer that specializes in your exact vertical. CBD, ammo, travel, whatever. They know your risk and they can move faster through the underwriting process. Pre-submit your due diligence. So have your entire document package reviewed and pre-approved by your account representative before it hits the underwriter's desk. Typically, approval takes 2 to 3 business days. Anything faster is either a low-risk account, aka a miscoded account, or an aggregated account. Either way, you should investigate and assign one person from your company to immediately answer any underwriter follow-up questions or document requests, because the lag time kills your approval times. Now, getting approved is half the battle. Staying approved is the other. Your funds are only safe if you avoid these triggers. Again, reaching the chargeback threshold is the #1 killer. So implement real-time fraud scoring and chargeback prevention tools. Undisclosed product changes. So don't suddenly start selling digital services when your application and your agreement says that you're going to be selling physical goods. And tell your processor to update your file if you do change the products you're selling. Now let's talk money. High risk means higher cost, but you need to know why and what you can negotiate. So your rate breaks down into the interchange rate, which is non-negotiable and it's set by Visa and MasterCard, and then the processor markup. And that is your negotiation leverage to a point. If the processor's margin is too tight, they are more likely to close the account at the first sign of any issues than a merchant with a wider margin. Now, it is also important to note that the high-risk merchants and high-risk processors are taking risk on the account. So unlike low-risk merchants where there is kind of a race to the bottom on rates, because there's not really any risk on low-risk accounts. With high-risk merchants, the high-risk processors, they're setting rates and fees based on the business's risk, with minimal negotiating really after that point. Now, a rolling reserve is possible, and it's typically 5% to 10% of your daily sales. fails, and it's held for usually 90 to 180 days. So make sure to factor that into your cash flow if it's required by the processor. High-risk merchant accounts have higher fees, and this can take the form of a higher processing rate, additional monthly fees such as like a website monitoring fee, or higher one-time fees such as like chargeback fees. Okay, this is the one you need to worry about, and it's the match list, and it stands for Terminate Merchant File. It's also called TMF, and it's a global blacklist maintained by Visa and MasterCard, and you get on it, and every major processor worldwide will issue an instant unappealable denial for 5 years. Now, the triggers are excessive chargebacks, selling unapproved products, or proven fraud and money laundering. The simple avoidance strategy is exactly what we've just covered. Maintain a chargeback rate below 1% and conduct transparent legal business. Prevention is the only realistic strategy here, and appeals are long, expensive, and they rarely are successful. So you now have the full playbook for securing your high-risk merchant account, and this is the information you need to go from being a processing liability to a stable, bankable business. So thank you for watching. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons so you don't miss out, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're interested in accepting payments at your business, please contact us at alliedpay.com. That's alliedpay.com. See you in the next video.